Afternoon, everyone. It is so nice to see you here virtually. Thank you for joining us here on this webinar on not only a Sunday afternoon, but what's turning out to be a gorgeous Sunday afternoon. And of course, Super Bowl Sunday for those who celebrate. So welcome to this webinar, but more importantly, welcome to the University of Maryland and welcome to the Honors College. My name is Christy Maddox, and I am the Executive Director of the Honors College at Maryland. And I'm joined here today with Jenny Lang and Chantel Smith, who make up our admissions team in the Honors College. I'm going to talk for a few minutes about the Honors College and our programs, and then Dr. Lang and Ms. Smith will be available to answer questions, and I'll be here also after I've given just a short presentation. So with that, here's our basic agenda for today. I want to tell you a little bit about Maryland Honors. Why Maryland Honors? What makes us special? And then I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the programs that make up Maryland Honors. And as you probably know, we've asked you to fill out a preference form in the next couple of weeks, rank ordering our various honors programs. And we actually have online chats all week this week about the different honors programs. So my job today is just to give you an overview of those programs so that you even know which of those online chats to sign on for. So I'm just going to give you kind of a bird's eye view of the various programs to maybe help direct your attention to which of the chats would be most helpful for you. And then, like I said, we'll have a general Q&A at the end of this session where you can ask any and all questions about honors. All right, so let's get started. So I think that what makes Maryland Honors so special is that we offer the experience of a small college within the context of a big university. So I won't dwell on this part too much. There's a lot you know about the University of Maryland, and there's a lot that makes it awesome. These are all of the characteristics of it as a big university. It is awesome to be a Terp. As you know, we have NCAA Division I, Big Ten, big athletics. You may know that our men's team is ranked number 16 right now. Our women's team basketball is ranked number 16 right now. Both are on winning streaks. That picture right there is a picture of a one-of-a-kind UMD student experience. Maybe some of you even had this experience already, sitting on the wall in the basketball games when they roll that Maryland flag down. There is nothing like it. So we have that big school experience that comes with the sports. We also have the 100+ majors that you would expect at a big university like Maryland. You can obviously major in computer science and engineering and all the big majors that you've heard of. But we also have a lot more niche majors, and maybe you want to pair one of those more niche majors with one of the big ones. So you can major in criminal justice and criminology. We have a new major in fermentation science being offered through the College of Agriculture. There's a newish major in global health. There's a major in immersive media design, landscape architecture, you name it. Whatever your passion is, you can find a place to study it here at the University of Maryland. We have an uncountable number of research labs on this campus across areas of interest, across disciplines. We have distinguished faculty made up of Nobel laureates, inventors with patents. Our university president has patents. They have funding from all the major granting organizations, the NIH, NSF, other research institutes. There's a major push on campus right now to incorporate undergraduates in that research, and that is baked into our honors programs. Coming to the University of Maryland also gives you access to a massive alumni network. Last count I saw, there's something like 500,000 University of Maryland alumni around the world, and we have a career center that facilitates those connections with alumni everywhere. And then the other thing that's just immeasurable about the University of Maryland is the amount of student involvement typically found through our student clubs. There's hundreds of thousands student clubs. You'll see them in your first couple weeks on campus. There will be a first look fair spread out on our mall where you can find any student club you could hope for. Environmental clubs, robotics clubs, programming clubs, religious clubs, social clubs, political clubs, service, you name it, you'll find it here on this campus. Coming to the University of Maryland gives you all the benefits of a big university. But at the same time, what honors offers you is the experience of a small college within that big university. So our honors programs are all residential. They're what we call living learning programs. They're all based in dorms. So some of them have an actual live-in residency requirement and some do not. But whether they have that requirement or not, the the heartbeat, the center of the program is in one of our residence halls. Students in the program will live in that residence hall. Your faculty and staff will have office in that residence hall. You will likely have classroom space, social space, hangout space, a kitchen in that residence hall that really is the heart and soul of your honors program. Our programs are also, all of them, our honors college and our programs are interdisciplinary. That means each of our programs has a focus on a common set of problems, but students are given the freedom to explore those problems from multidisciplinary perspectives. And this will become clearer once I get into the 8 programs themselves. One of the things that I think is really nice about our honors programs is when you get to college, one of the first things you have to do is take a bunch of gen ed requirements. Those are our general education requirements, and you can find those on our website. They're laid out. Some of them are what we call fundamental studies. You take a writing class, you take an oral communication class, a math class, that kind of stuff. And then you take some classes in the humanities, in the social sciences, and the natural sciences. The signature of our gen ed program is what's called a big question class and a scholarship and practice class. Anyway, the point is, no matter what path you take through higher education in the state of Maryland, you're going to take classes that count toward your general education. What honors does is put those general education classes together for you in a sort of coherent way. So you're not left to navigate around gen ed on this campus and find classes that make sense for you. You'll take a lot of your gen eds through your honors program. Most of your honors classes will count toward gen ed. You will also find in honors that we have typically fairly small classes, and those are small classes taught by a faculty member. And that has 2 benefits. One is you'll develop really a cohort experience of going through those classes with that same group of students who you also live with, who are in your dorm. This is the LLP experience. And then you'll also be taking those small classes with a faculty member or in a small set of faculty member who you'll get to know over time. Our faculty directors teach in most of our living learning programs. They get to know you. They mentor you in your research and your internship opportunities. And then they'll write letters of recommendation for you if and when that's something you need. The other thing that comes baked into our honors programs is what we call co-curricular enrichment. So that means all kinds of opportunities outside the classroom that fit with what's going on in the classroom. So there will be career panels. Speakers will come in and talk about career opportunities related to what you're studying in your honors program. Other kinds of guest speakers, public intellectuals, smart people, people with good ideas, poets, writers, will come in and talk and ideally inspire you. There will be opportunities for professional development, resume building kind of workshops, headshot opportunities, those sorts of things. The Career Center will come visit. So lots of professional development. And then I think the real hallmark of our honors programs is also just lots of fun. There will be pancake breakfasts and field trips to Butler's Orchard and reading day extravaganzas and all kinds of what are really social events, but they're happening in the context of your living learning program. So they're part of your cohort building experience. They're part of building relationships with faculty. It all kind of comes together in a coherent whole. And then alongside all of that, we have lots of student groups in the honors college as well. And some of those are within our specific programs and some are in the honors college overall. So we have an honors college student leadership group. There's something akin to a student government in each program. Also, we've got peer mentorship programs. We've got a Black Honors Caucus. We've got a First Gen Student Association. We've got some other identity groups as well. All of those are opportunities for actually all the things I was talking about, building relationships with other students, peer mentoring, also networking and career development, research opportunities, study help, anything you could look for, you'll see through our various student groups. So let's move on. Yep, let's talk about the actual Honors College Living Learning Program. So everything I said so far was true about our Honors College overall. But now I want to give you just that little preview of the 8 programs that make up our Honors College again, so that you can decide which of these online chats this week are going to be best suited for you. You can make an informed judgment about which of these programs might suit you best. So just as a reminder, you do have a deadline to send a preference form to us by Wednesday, February 19th. So you've got some time. We just want to make sure that you can join us for the chats this week and learn more about the programs that might suit you best. So I'm going to start by talking. So these are the 8 programs we have. You see them all on the screen. I'm going to talk you through them one at a time. I'm going to start with University Honors. So, and I should say that on each of these slides as we go, I've got the Instagram handle, and you're welcome to look them up now or later. I actually think each program's Instagram is a pretty good way to get a good sense of what's going on in that program. So University Honors is our biggest and most flexible honors program. It is at its core multidisciplinary. Your curriculum in University Honors will be structured so you take a gateway class to start that just kind of opens you up to the program. Then you'll take some classes in a cluster that's a thematic cluster. And you'll take a couple classes on a track, and then you'll wrap it all up with a Vantage Point class at the end where you kind of put it all together, what you learned. So just to give you a sense of those clusters, some of the recent topics have been artificial intelligence. There's one called butterfly effects. There's one called surveillance. There's one called science and fiction. That science and fiction is a good example of the way these clusters try to bring together really different perspectives. So it has some STEM classes in it and some literature classes, and bringing together new ways to think about the relationships between science and fiction. Cool, huh? The nice thing about these classes in University Honors is that they design new classes every 2 years. So I've been teaching a class in University Honors. I've taught it for 2 years. This is my last semester, and then it's just done. And what that means is these classes are always timely and topical because they're always cycling in every 2 years. You may hear that University Honors is a big program. It is true. It's our biggest program. They break that down a little bit by dividing students into houses. And it's like sort of Harry Potter-esque. You'll have some bonds within your house. There's some competitions between the houses. There is a house cup at the end, or ongoing through every year, and a winner of the house cup at the end of each year. So that gives you, again, that closer cohort experience, getting to know your peers. And there are peer mentoring opportunities as well. They do lots of enrichment. Some recent examples, they had a Lunar New Year party. They had an alumni panel of University Honors alumni come back in. They've got a research roundtable coming up at the end of this month. They're doing a big kind of conference with a couple of our other programs called Mapping Our Black World Symposium with an Africana market. So that's just some examples of things they have going on right now. They also, University Honors did its first study abroad trip this past summer. They went to Oxford, and they have plans to take students to Oxford again this summer. So it does have a study abroad opportunity, but not requirement. All right, next I'm going to talk about ACES. So ACES, which stands for Advanced Cybersecurity Experience for Students, is a program focused on educating students to be leaders in the cybersecurity workforce. It might sound narrow, but they actually take a pretty broad approach to that mission. So again, like our other programs, it is multidisciplinary in nature. You'll learn some computer science, some economics, some politics, trying to get a holistic view of cybersecurity. One of the things that really sets ACES apart is that it has great industry partnerships, famously with Northrop Grumman, but also with Amazon, the National Security Agency, the National Science Foundation. Your classes will have instructors from some of those entities. There's lots of panels where these folks come in and talk. There's mentoring opportunities, lots of ways to network with folks from these industry partners, lots of opportunities for professional development. They recently had a panel with a visit from Beckett Wells from Peraton Labs, who was talking about strategies behind wireless fingerprinting, which are ways to identify wireless devices based solely on radio emissions. If you look on their Instagram, you'll see all the fine print about that presentation, just to give you a sense of the kind of things that ACES students tend to be interested in. And then they do fun stuff also. They are partnering with a couple of our other groups to do a Stuff a Plush event sometime this month, I think in conjunction with Valentine's Day. So lots of fun, lots of serious coding, computery time, lots of time to think bigger picture about cybersecurity. That's ACES. Next, yep, here goes H-Glow. Um, so H-Glow honors global challenges and solutions, is interested in exactly what its title says, taking a global perspective on the challenges and solutions that face us around the world. Um, Again, they take a multidisciplinary perspective. So they take a political science perspective as well as economics, environment, you name it. They're trying to understand all these global challenges um, holistically. What I think is important about H-Glow is that they're not going to settle for understanding the problems. H-Glow is really focused on finding solutions to some of those like big vexing challenges, global migration and poverty and war and terrorism and environmental change and those sorts of things. Um, and H-Glow really focuses on finding those solutions by using social science and data science strategies for problem solving. So in HGlow, you'll learn some programming, you'll learn some data visualization. But HGlow is very committed that you don't have to have any background in those things. They will teach those skills, you'll practice them, you'll become good at them. You'll do it again, in that cohort, but also with lots of really intensive faculty mentoring. Their faculty director, Dr. Sarah Croco, is known for doing cookies with Croco, where students come and eat cookies and hang out and work on these new skills. So don't be daunted by words like data science or programming. This program really is accessible. HGLO has both research and internship tracks. Their internship track is in partnership with UMD's Global and Federal Fellows Program, which places students in federal internships in the DC area. And then HGLO has a study abroad program. They are going to Panama this spring. It's their first trip to Panama, and they're working in partnership with a UN program to really understand a set of interrelated challenges there in Panama related to poverty. And I think they're going to learn so much. And they're going to have a great time. So that's HGLO. Let's talk about Honors Humanities. So Honors Humanities, don't let its title surprise you. It has students from a diversity of majors. Last count I saw was that students in Honors Humanities come from upwards of 60 majors. And what unites students in Honors Humanities, even though they come from a lot of different majors, is they do have interests in literature, movies, art, digital media, all these forms of sort of creative expression that bring us together as humans. And as they study those things, they develop skills in writing, speaking, analysis, creativity. They Honors Humanities, like a lot of these others, has a cohort experience where you take one class together at the start. But then they have some opportunities to take different classes in literature or art or digital media or whatever, or dance, whatever it is that might interest you. I will say that the Honors Humanities world is filled with art and music, and you'll see that and hear that in their space. It's also true in their enrichment and in the types of field trips that they go out and do. They visit museums and theaters and other cultural institutions. They make an annual trip to Broadway. All of this does culminate in a keystone project, which might be research, service, or a creative project of some sort. Next comes DCC, which is Design, Cultures, and Creativity. Design, Cultures, and Creativity is very clear that they exist at the intersection of art and technology, but the intersection of art and technology for the purpose of building better worlds. So they are thinkers and makers through and through. They build stuff. They build both digital and material stuff. Some of the students build podcasts, others build furniture, others build games. One of the things I love about DCC is that they constantly have workshops going on. They have both a maker space and a sound studio here on campus that they control. And they, I mean, again, look at their Instagram, but the workshops that they've had over the course of the last few months are all over the place and they're phenomenal. They've had a workshop on fluid painting. They had one on crochet. They had one on fermentation. Those students are always building skills for making, skills for designing, again, in the spirit of building better worlds. All of that culminates in a capstone project, again, where students get to do something independently, but with lots of support of faculty and peer mentors. The one that's been on my mind right now is they actually have a student who learned some skills related to woodworking and furniture building. and he just built all new furniture for their maker space. Because it turns out that organizing all the stuff they needed in their maker space, you couldn't really do with like stuff from IKEA. So he was able to build furniture that suited exactly what they needed in their maker space, and that's his capstone project. So, but other capstone projects have been short films and podcasts and that kind of thing. So those are the students, the kinds of creatives that you would be hanging out with if you were to choose digital cultures or design cultures and creativity. Let's talk about GEMS. Okay, so Gemstone is such a special program. Gemstone is the only one of our honors programs that is 4 years long. The others are all 2 years long. But one important thing to know about Gemstone is even though it's 4 years long, where the others are 2 years, it's the same approximately number of credits. Most of our programs, all of our programs, are either 15 or 16 credits. GEMS is right in that ballpark with all the others. You just spread your credits out over more years. And the reason Gemstone lasts 4 years is because the students in Gemstone build really sophisticated research projects and they do them in research teams. And what I love about the GEMS research projects is that they are multidisciplinary, students coming together with different perspectives trying to solve a common problem, and they are real world problems. So the GEMS students are tackling real world research problems and trying to create and propose solutions. So, and they do that in these research teams that they form at the end of their first year, and then they work together for 3 years because that's what it takes to do the kind of sophisticated research that they're doing. And they do it in conjunction with 1 or 2 faculty mentors. If you want to get a sense of this, the GEMS website does have a list of actually all their current teams and teams from previous years, and you'll get a sense of just how cool their research is. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So they got a team right now called Team EXO that's developing a practical exoskeleton for firefighters that aims to solve a bunch of problems that firefighters face going into these dangerous situations. They think they can solve them with a better exoskeleton. I didn't know that was a problem. It's cool that our students are working on that. There's another team working, they're called Team Scoot. They're trying to optimize mobility scooters. You know, the like knee scooters that people scoot around on after surgery. It turns out there's a lot of limitations of those scooters. There actually isn't a good scooter like that on the market that has power assist, evidently. Seems like a good thing, given we have, you know, e-bikes and e-scooters all over the place. Seems like that would be a good place to have power assist. But then there's some trade-offs trying to figure out how to do that while still making them flexible and foldable and all of that. That's what one of our teams is working on. I'll give you one last one. There's one called Team GASP, which is spelled GAHSP. And they are working on problems related to policing and some of the ways that policing is sometimes less efficient than it could be and also sometimes biased. And so they're looking for ways that they can optimize algorithms that will help police devote their resources in more optimal ways so that they can actually be more efficient and effective in doing the work of policing. So that's just to give you a sense of how cool their research is, because they really are trying to solve real world problems that we all know about, but maybe don't know how to solve. All right, let's talk about IBH. Next slide. So IBH is our interdisciplinary business honors program. Again, let's focus on that word interdisciplinary. Students from all across campus join interdisciplinary business honors. About half of their students are majoring in business, but about half are not majoring in business, because the idea is even if you're majoring in, say, literature or music or computer science, maybe it would help you to know something about business also. So IBH ends up being a nice complement to majors outside of business. And IBH is tackling big ideas. They are trying to connect business to the grand challenges of our time: social, environmental, public health, human rights topics, thinking about what is the role of business in helping to solve some of those problems. So you take a sequence of classes in IBH that are called the future of work, the future of analysis, the future of leadership. They're really trying to give you opportunities to think big about these big challenges and the way that business can help respond, and the way that you then in your current and future life can be part of those solutions also. So what I love, they do have a capstone project at the end as well. Their capstone project, they work in interdisciplinary teams with an external partner, often somebody from the private sector, to address a real world problem. Um, Within your time in IBH, there are also opportunities for an internship, for study abroad. They've gone to Italy and France in the past 2 years. Or if neither of those suits you, there is a chance just to take an elective course instead. All right, and then our last one is integrated life sciences. Um, so ILS offers a holistic approach to the biological sciences. So this brings together students who are interested in the biological sciences, but again, are majoring in lots of different things. So some are majoring in bio, but some are majoring in plant sciences or ag or other biochem, bioengineering, lots of different things. Some of the students are pre-health, like wanting to go on to be pre-med or a different pre-health career, but some of the students are not. One thing that really sets ILS apart from other honors programs, but also just other bio programs, is that they have both a service and a research component. So all ILS students complete a 25-hour service learning requirement with a community partner. And what's nice about ILS is that they have really great relationships with community partners. So they'll help facilitate, help you find a place where you fit and can do your service learning. And then they also have a research requirement, which is a 240-hour requirement. And most of the students complete that at UMD or at some of the many nearby federal agencies and biomedical institutes in the Maryland and DC area. So NIH, FDA, USDA, Smithsonian, our students have been at all of those places over the last few years. And it's also important to note that you don't have to have any previous experience with research or any of these kind of opportunities. You don't have to have had an internship at one of these agencies before. ILS will get you there. If you look at ILS's Instagram handle there, I'll also just point out to you that it has 2 underscores. So they are at ILS __ UMD, or obviously you can just search them by name. So those are our 8 programs. And the last thing I want to say, just to kind of bring that all together, is I want to underscore some of the commonalities across our programs. So these are all living learning programs. They are centered in dorm life. If you didn't hear me say it enough, these are interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary programs that bring lots of perspectives together on common issues. They all foster a tight-knit community among the students and give students access to relationships with faculty and staff as well, faculty mentorship. And they all come with enrichment opportunities that span professional development, academic and intellectual development, and just pure fun and social time. That is how we in honors try to give you that small college feel within the context of a large research university. So having said all of that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, Jenny Lang and Chantel Smith, who are going to give you these reminders about what comes next and then open it up for questions.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. I see we have a few questions in the chat. I'm going to in the Q&A. Please put your questions in the Q&A. It helps us track there much more easily. So I'm just going to cover a couple of things really quickly. We're going to try and answer as many questions out loud as we can because we are in fact recording this webinar and we will post it on our website and share it with all of our honors students so that people who couldn't make it today are still able to review this information and receive this information. So yes, please make sure you put your questions in Q&A. We're able to answer, whatever we can today, and then to reach us later, we'll make sure you have our email address. But I want to highlight the reminders here on the screen right now. We have these upcoming chats this week, Monday through Thursday, a chat at 6 p.m. and a chat at 7 p.m. to learn more about each of our 8 programs. And we will have faculty and staff and students from each of those programs available to answer questions. So, and then of course the preference form deadline. Hopefully students, you have found the preference form at this point. You have until February 19th to fill out that form. We strongly encourage you to fill out the form by February 19th. You can fill it out later, but we will, basically anyone who fills it out submits it by February 19th. We will place you into a program, and then if you fill it out after February 19th, We will also place you in a program that just won't happen until later in April. So fill it out by February 19th, even if you're not certain that you're going to come to Maryland, even if you're not certain that you're interested in the Honors College. It's not going to commit you to anything. It just makes sure there's a space for you in honors if you decide to enroll at the University of Maryland. And then I'll also add, because I get this question a lot, you can then decide not to participate in honors. We hope that doesn't happen. We want you to join us, but you are not committing, you are not tying yourself to anything. It just means that there is a spot for you in honors if you decide that you want to take that spot. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of the questions that I see here. First, I jumped on this question right away. There's a question about music ed. My background is actually in the School of Music, so I'm happy to answer questions about music and music education. Yes, I can confirm that the music ed major is very time intensive. Marching band, I want to highlight or specify, is not a requirement to be a music major. It's not a requirement for being a music or music ed major. But I will say that I think that there are definitely students in honors humanities who have participated in the marching band. So yes, it is a time commitment, but I do think it's worth it. And that's from someone who attended a Big Ten institution and didn't march. And that is one thing I regret. I wish I had marched. So I think it's a great experience if it's something you can fit into your schedule, but I do think it is possible to fit that in with the Honors Humanities program. So another question about, I think the question is basically, do you get better placement if you submit your form earlier versus on February 19th? The answer is no. So we're going to consider all students who submit their forms by February 19th and place them into a program. There is not preference. There is not any favor for submitting earlier versus later. Just make sure you submit the form by February 19th. There is a question about how many students are in each of the 8 programs. It varies. For 7 of our programs, it's between 65 and 90-ish students in the freshman cohort. And as Dr. Maddox mentioned, University Honors is our largest program. It does have an incoming class of around 440 to 450 students, obviously depending on the year. But that is the largest. And then the other 7 programs are between 65 and 90-ish students in the freshman cohort. Does the Honors College come with a higher tuition cost? No. There's no additional tuition. There's nothing above and beyond. Our students in the Honors College are students at the University of Maryland, and so they pay whatever the University of Maryland tuition rate is. There's no additional costs associated with the Honors College. How likely is it that honor students are placed into their first choice program? We do our best to get students into a program that is their first, second, or third choice program. I believe that last year in our first round, in the students who submitted by this earlier deadline, we placed around 2,300 students. And I think that maybe 50 students or less were placed in a fourth ranked program or higher. So we do our best to get students into a program that they are very interested in, because we know that you are more likely to enroll and more likely to have a great experience if it's something that you are interested in. Having said that, I do want to point out ACES, the cybersecurity program, is one of the more competitive programs. They do get more than double the number of students preferencing them first than they actually have are able to send invites to. So just keep that in mind. There will, of course, be students invited to ACES, but not every person who submits ACES as their first preference program will be able to be placed into that program. If I'm interested in only 3 honors programs, do I still need to rank all 7? No, you do not have to rank, well, it's actually 8. You do not have to rank all 8 programs. The form does require you to rank at least 5. So you do need to put at least 5 preference programs on the form. You can choose to do 6, 7, or 8, but we do need at least 5 programs listed. It won't let you submit without 5 programs there. How selective are each of the honors programs? Are some programs more competitive than others? Yes. And ACES is I think the most competitive program, just because there's so many students who have, a computer science interest, and cybersecurity sort of lines up with that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of students who come in as computer science majors, and therefore there's a lot of students who want to participate in the cybersecurity program. I also want to highlight some things. A question that we often get a lot is, oh, I am X major, which program should I be in? They don't have to align. So the course requirements that students take for these programs is, as Dr. Maddox mentioned, 15 to 16-ish credits spread over 2 years. So it's about 1 or 2 courses per year, or sorry, per semester for the first 2 years of the student's experience. And so it's really about equivalent to a minor, the amount of coursework that a student would take for a minor. So really, it can absolutely be something that matches what the student is interested in majoring in, or it can be something completely different and completely opposite. So it just gives a student a chance to either really focus and, keep the same sort of interest in all of their courses, or I've heard a lot of students say they appreciate the chance to study and take classes in and focus on something that's completely different. It gives their brain a break, and allows them to branch out in what they're learning at the University of Maryland. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Chantel now to answer some questions.
Hey everyone. So one of the questions I see right now are, do all the programs span over 4 years, and is it possible to be part of more than one? So as Dr. Maddox said, Gemstone is our 4-year research-based program. That is the only program out of our 8 that actually spans over the 4 years. All other programs are designed to be completed within 2 years. And as far as, are you able to be in more than one, the answer is no. Each program has a very specific set of curriculum, the 15 to 18 credits that Jenny was talking about. And so because of that, it's just not possible to be in more than one of them, since none of the credits are going to transfer, like they don't coincide with either program. Plus they're seating max of seats in each program. So it just wouldn't be possible to be in more than one, which is why it's very important for you guys to learn about the different programs through our online chats this week, so that you can see which ones you're actually most interested in, and then put that on your preference form. All right. Could you give more details about housing options for different honors programs and how it's different from regular housing? So each of our programs actually has they're assigned to a different resident hall. There's a couple of our programs that actually require their students to live in the residence halls, and that's going to be ACES, ILS, and IBH. All the other ones highly suggest that you live with with your cohort, because it's a part of the living and learning opportunity that honors offers our students, but you are not obligated in the other programs to live with those students. As far as it being different, there's some that are on one side of campus. So we have a North Campus and South Campus. Majority of freshmen that come in are usually on North Campus side, across the whole campus. We do have some of our programs that are housed on South Campus, which include IBH, DCC, ACES, Honors Humanities, and HGLO. So all the other programs are on North Campus side. As far as it just being different, I mean, they're all different residence halls. Some of them are a little newer than others. But other than that, they're not really that different. And the majority of those honors, like the residence halls, house more than just honor students. So we'll usually have a couple floors that are designed just for our students. But then the other floors are going to be students from across campus. So that eliminates the possibility of your students being or you being siloed away from the rest of the campus. So you'll still be able to meet friends across campus that are not in your honors programs, which I think is a great benefit. Let's see. Which communities have study abroad opportunities? So there are a couple of our programs that have it kind of like set into their curriculum, which include honors communities. I think you can get credit for. Is HGLO has a study abroad. And then I want to say a couple of them other ones go over a study abroad. Jenny, correct me. Is there another one that actually puts it in their curriculum as part of the credits?
I can do this. I
Okay.
mean, IBH, HGLO, UH have study abroad baked in. But there's lots and lots of study abroad opportunities on this campus.
Right.
Not all of our honors programs have study abroad, but regardless of what honors program you do, you can study abroad. Like even Gemstone, which lasts 4 years, you can still study abroad while you're in Gemstone.
Absolutely right. Yep. I've definitely
Hmm.
known a few students to do that, even though it's probably a little bit harder with Gemstone being 4 years. Which is why we highly suggest if you are interested in study abroad opportunities that you go to our study abroad office on campus as soon as you're able to start making that planning out with your course planning out for the, over the next 4 years that you're at UMD. And that way you're be able to kind of be more proactive about like when you can kind of fit it into your schedule. There's different, like you have winter break study abroad opportunities, you have a whole semester study abroad opportunities that students do. So you definitely have different options, even if it's not plugged into your honors curriculum. Let's see. Okay, this is a good question. So if in a 2-year honors program, what happens after the program's over? Do students continue receiving the mentorship and support? So, like I said, the majority of our programs are 2 years. So after their curriculum is over, they are still a part of the honors college. They will be a part of the honors college until they graduate. The only thing that does not happen anymore is they're no longer actively taking classes with their cohort. But they're still able to be just as engaged as they want to be. So we have, as Dr. Maddox said, we have multiple different ways for students to get engaged in leadership opportunities, to include like student advisory board. A lot of our students decide, once they're like in their upperclassmen years, they want to be a TA for their program. So you can be a TA. You can be a part of the honors ambassadors, which they're fantastic students that like to talk to prospective students, which you'll see over the next few days if you come to the online chats. So there's just different ways that you can get, stay engaged, like we said, as much as you want to. Plus, we'll still have events going on. And when we do have events, they're open to everyone in the Honors College and then you'll also have some from your living learning programs that you can still go to. So
I just want to chime in really quickly because the question was, will you still receive the mentorship and support, which you absolutely can in your third and fourth year. But the other thing that's important by the time you're a third year, you're going to be in a position to do a lot of mentoring. And we have really good peer mentor programs. And there will be first and second years behind you who will be looking up to you for support. And you can stay as engaged in peer mentoring as you would like.
which we love to see. Thank you for adding that. We really love to see. Let's see. I'm interested in AI and research. Which one is better, Gemstone or University Honors? So because our programs are more like interdisciplinary, as we've kind of said already, there isn't a set program where we would say that you would need to go to for certain things. For Gemstone, just particularly since you mentioned those two, Gemstone, at the end of like during your freshman year, you guys are deciding on different research topics. So if AI and research is something that, you and multiple people decide that's like a topic that you want to research, if it becomes one of the topics that is that you're able to pick, that could be a possibility. So it really depends. There's no set research topics. You guys decide that amongst yourselves during your first year. And then as far as university honors is concerned, because there's different every 2 years, there I was going to say tracks. What am I trying to say? What's the word? I guess you can say tracks. There's different,
Clusters.
what is it called?
Clusters.
Thank you.
Clusters.
Thank you. They have clusters and tracks. So every 2 years, their clusters change, and each of their clusters has a topic. So one could possibly be AI and research one time. So University Honors is somewhere where you can go into these different topics and clusters. And because it is like more of a multidisciplinary thing, they do bring in faculty and experts from different fields to talk about the different subjects. So that is also a possibility as well. So, okay, we answer that. Do all disability accommodations extend to the honors program as well? So there's to answer your question, as far as disability accommodations for like resident halls and stuff like that, we do have, the answer is yes. you're able to, when, is it Res Life, Jenny? When you're going to, yes, okay. So, okay, she's checking. So yeah, we have had students that needed disability accommodations, especially during like the resident halls, where they're going to live. I know they were able to. She's going to double check if it's Res Life that you go through, but you are able to request that, and we'll give you that
Yeah,
those.
no,
Oh, go ahead.
I can answer that.
Oh, thank you.
It's ADS. There's accessibility and disability services here on this campus, and that's who you'll go through for all your disability accommodations, whether those be resident hall accommodations or classroom accommodations. So if the question was about classroom accommodations, like getting a note taker, for instance, that everything that you'd be eligible for in any class at the University of Maryland, you are eligible for in the Honors College, and that's all run through ADS.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I just put a link in the chat. There is a form that students will fill out for residence hall accommodations, and that is up to Res Life. Res Life actually makes all of the housing assignments. We don't make the assignments in honors. We work with Res Life to make sure that they know which students are in which programs and therefore which students should be in which residence halls. But the housing accommodations are through ADS, and ADS works with Res Life for that. So yes, it is available for all honor students who need it.
Thank you, guys. And then I read that La Plata Hall is a requirement for all first-year ILS students, which is correct. Does this mean after the 2 years is over, we go to the normal dorms of all UMD students on our third year? So all of the students, so the ones that are actually like have an obligation. So like you said, that is true. ILS has a 1-year obligation. IVH has a 1-year obligation. ACES has a 2-year obligation. And so after that obligation, that resident hall obligation is over, you are able to select which resident halls. I mean, there's a process that you go through to kind of preference which resident halls you want to live in the following year. We do have some students, and it's not guaranteed, but we do have some students that are able to live in the same resident halls they did their freshman year, even after that, that first year is over, if there's space. But a lot of our students end up going to different living options, whether that's on campus or off campus. And the majority of our students always tell us that they end up rooming together still with students from their cohort. So you have a little bit more flexibility. But like I said, it's not a guarantee, but there's a process that you go through at the end of the year to decide like where you're going to be living the following year. Hopefully that answers the question. If not, you can reply back with something more details on that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jenny. And before I do that, if you guys have this, there's only 2 other questions left. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section at this time.
Okay, so there's a questions about dual enrollment credits. How does that affect your participation in the Honors College? Are you required to participate in all 4 years of university due to the honors program? So first, I'll say we have a large number of students who come in with credits from AP, IP, dual enrollment. We also have students who come in with no credits. It depends on the experience that you've had at your high school and what was available to you. So it is not uncommon for students to come in with a large number of credits, and certainly an associate's degree. I know there's a lot of dual enrollment options available. So it doesn't really affect your participation in the Honors College, I'll say. So lots of students do it. The thing is, the dual enrollment, the associate's degree and the credits you come in with, it depends on what those courses satisfy. A lot of times those courses will satisfy general ed requirements. Depending on your major in the courses, they might satisfy some major requirements. This is very individual, unique up to, each person's experience. So most of the courses that our students take as a part of the curriculum for their honors citation, those credits will both satisfy the requirements of their honors citation, and they will also satisfy some general education requirements. So if you already have those gen ed requirements covered, it's not going to hurt anything. You'll just sort of get extra credits, but they will also satisfy that honor citation. So you are working towards earning your honor citation. And then no, you do not have to be a student at the University of Maryland for all 4 years. We will consider you a member of the Honors College as long as you are an undergraduate student at the University of Maryland. But as we said, most of our programs can be completed in 2 years, maybe 2.5, depending on the courses and the credits and everything. Gemstone is the only program that is a 4-year program. And they do also have a way for students who are graduating usually a semester early, or if you're studying abroad, that you can continue to participate and be a member of the Gemstone team that you are on, that you're assigned to. So there are options there. But in general, if you have an associate's degree, most of the coursework in the Honors College is going to be completed in your first 2 years. So no, you don't have to stay at the University of Maryland for 4 years. Would it be possible to double major while also being an honors program? Yes, many of our students do. And would AP credits be able to get rid of some gen ed credits since honors courses replace some of those gen eds? Yes, as I just said, if you're coming in with AP, IB, or dual enrollment credits, a lot of those gen eds are going to be covered. So yes, the courses that you're taking for honors are going to double count towards your gen eds, and that's fine. And so, yeah, but not having to take all of the additional gen eds can certainly free up some time for you to do a double major, double degree. I see a question about double or tripling majoring. We do have students who double major with a minor or 2 or 3. Our honor students are really interested in learning for the sake of learning, so they explore all sorts of opportunities and definitely are very active and take a lot of classes and generally finish in 4 years. So, or less if you're choosing not to do that, you're coming in with a bunch of credits. Yes, we have a number of students also who graduate early as well. There's a question about academic advisor for both honors and your general classes, or is there one advisor that covers everything? So the way advising works is your major, whatever your major is, you're going to have an advisor in your major. You may also have an advisor in your academic college. So whichever college your major is in, like computer science is within the College of Computer Science, Computer, Mathematical, and Natural Sciences, CMNS. So you may have advising both with a computer science major and with a CMNS major, CMNS advisor. If you are double majoring, if you have another major outside of the CMNS college, if you're double majoring in computer science and music, then you're going to have an advisor in music also, and potentially even an advisor in the College of Arts and Humanities, which music is a part of. So you will have advisors, and then there are faculty and staff within the Honors College within your specific program who will help you make sure that you are taking the courses required for your citation to make sure that you're on track to earn your Honors College citation. So you'll have advisors who are going to help you with your academic degree program, and then you'll have faculty and staff within honors who are going to help make sure you're meeting the citation requirements and are also there to be mentors and guides and answer questions as they come up during your time at the University of Maryland. Can students continue to stay in their respective honors college housing after completion of their 2-year honors program, excluding Gemstone? Do they have to move out after 2 years? So it depends on the building, honestly, and it depends on the next incoming class. So there are certainly some places where students can live in the program housing for, 2 years. Generally not more than 2 years, because the buildings are there for, those buildings are specific to the next year's incoming cohort and then the year after that. So those are the students who get priority over that building. Students in honors, if they stay on campus, if they move off and then try to come back on, they're going to have challenges. But if you stay on campus, you will get housing on campus. It's just not necessarily going to be in that same building. And it really depends on the building to be able to say. In general, I would say I wouldn't count on it, but I wouldn't say it's impossible either. Any more questions?
We did that good of a job. Thank you, guys. You don't have any questions?
I'm going to see if we have folks paying attention. If you have already submitted your preference form, could you do the raise hand feature? Okay, we got 3. Excellent. Well done. Okay, so that means that there's, some more folks. who have time. You have a week and a half or so to submit the preference form. So I'll just say make sure you submit that preference form by February 19th. We have time. We are still here and available and are happy to continue answering questions.
I do want to point out, with the preferencing deadline, it does not obligate you to go to UMD. So if that's something that you're holding off on due to that, don't. You want to submit it as soon as you can. Again, you can go to the online chats this week to kind of see which ones you're more interested in, but please don't let that be a deterrent as far as why you're not submitting it, because that form has nothing to do with your admissions or your accepting your admissions to the university. That's for our record so that we can make sure that we're processing who placements in a timely manner so that by the confirmation deadline of May 1st, you know exactly which program you got selected into so that you can make the most educated decision for yourself. So please submit that. If you're a family member, parent, please tell your students, don't let that stop them from doing that. Okay. So if you submit, Jenny, if you submit it by, I can't think of the date right now, but if you submit it by the February 19th deadline, they want to know when will they hear back?
Early March.
Pre-vet. So as far as an advisor you can talk to, like Jenny said, you're going to have like a plethora of different type of support systems around you, depending on like your college, your academic college, your major. So there will be an advisor that can talk to you about that, your pre-vet track. Depending on which honors program you go into, it also determine kind of what kind of support you get. I know integrated life sciences, because they have that health background or the health focus, they are a lot more, I don't want to say in a position, but they're a lot more versed about how to go about moving forward if you're trying to go into the health field. So that would be an additional resource, I guess, if you wanted more assistance with that.
I was also going to highlight that hopefully you and your students have already received invites to the admitted student open houses that are coming up this spring. There's 2 in-person ones and 1 virtual one. If you are signed up to attend those, there should be all of the various pre-med session. They will host info sessions on those days. So if you're here, you'll have a chance to meet with the academic department for the major you're interested in. You'll have a chance to meet with us. In the Honors College, we'll have sessions for each of our living learning programs. There will be, Res Life will have an info session. There will be like I said, the pre-med, pre-law, all of those places, they will have sessions, and there will be an info fair as well, a chance to just walk around and talk to the people who run those programs. So if you're not already signed up for one of the admitted student open houses, definitely try to join us. And if you can't make one of the 2 live or 2 in-person, not live, 2 in-person ones, there is a virtual one as well where you should be able to connect with the folks from those programs as well.
Yep. Yay, questions are coming in. All right, cool. So I'm gonna tackle a few of them that's related to resident life. So one of the questions is, there's actually a couple of them. It's kind of around the regarding your roommate and how is that decided? So generally speaking, if you do nothing else, like you do all your processing, everything, you submit everything on time, and you do nothing else, your roommate will be randomized, like random. There is an option for you to select, or again, a preference, I guess, a roommate. There's also something that we have called Roommate Finder that goes out in a few weeks, I guess. Is it April?
No, it'll be in either May or June.
Oh, it's
Last
later.
year it's
Okay.
in June, but last year's
That was
timeline
different.
got very messed up because of FAFSA. So I think it might be late May to early June-ish.
Okay.
The Roommate Finder opens. It's a portal where students can kind of match and connect with each other. If you are in one of our honors programs, you will only be able to match with other students in that program. So that's just something to keep in mind. But you can choose your roommate from that.
Right. And I did see that someone said that they have a friend that also got into honors. So can you request a room with them? Yes. However, it also depends on like which programs you both get into. Because they, like we said, that we're all kind of around campus, the different programs. But if you guys are both in the same program, you could request to room with each other. If you have a friend that's not in honors, you both can put the request in. But again, that's not guaranteed. So the option is there, I guess, to at least try. Let's see. Are there LLP specific scholarships? Okay, there are a couple of scholarship questions. So LLP specific scholarships, no. Do merit scholarships depend on being in the program? No. So basically, if you applied, and I'm assuming all you guys did, so if you applied by the early action deadline of November 1st, everyone who applies by then is looked at for merit scholarships in special programs on campus, which would have included honors. So even if you're not in honors, if you are eligible based off of your merit in high school, you will be eligible for merit scholarships, and that would be between like Office of Undergraduate Admissions and the Financial Aid Office. But that has nothing to do with our program specifically. We do have a merit scholarship called Banneker Key that's housed within honors. But if you're selected for the Banneker Key scholarship, we would definitely want you to be in honors program, but you're not obligated to be in the honors program. And then Jenny, you want to answer?
Just to continue off of that, someone asked about when do we hear about the Banneker Key Scholarship? So those went out on Friday, I believe. So it is. I just want to highlight how incredibly competitive. So if you were selected for a Banneker Key as a Banneker Key semifinalist, congratulations, because there are fewer than 400 students selected as Banneker Key semifinalists, and there were over 66,000 freshman applications this year to the University of Maryland. So fewer than 400 students selected as Banneker Key semifinalists. There are so many incredibly talented students out there, which is why we encourage you, hang on. Merit scholarship comes later. There's not a guarantee scholarship with being invited to honors. Those academic merit scholarships are available to students, all students admitted to the fall semester, not just honor students, but certainly hang on for those to be coming out.
I also wanted to add that just because let's say you don't get a merit scholarship, this year we do have a scholarship office on campus. So even if you don't get it for your freshman year, you can definitely look into applying for scholarships to help fund the rest of your college and other different opportunities to fund those. Your academic college also has a scholarship option, so you can look into that too. I would actually look into if you know who your academic college is, go to their website and try to check to see which scholarships offerings they do have, because I'm not very versed on when they open and when they close. I do know when I've seen some in the past that some of them have been open for incoming freshmen, and others weren't. So I would just recommend to check that out if you're interested in those. And then, like I said, we do have a scholarship office on campus. So we would highly recommend you go there to check out, which different opportunities may be possible in your future and start prepping for those applications.
I wanted to answer the question in the chat about study abroad for IBH. IBH has done 2 really cool study abroad trips over these last couple of years. They go in January because we have a little bit of a break between our semesters. So they've gone for 3 weeks in January, once to France and once to Italy. They have great partnerships with businesses there. And so they go meet with business leaders in the given country, and they spend 2 to 3 weeks learning about the nature of business in another country. That's the IBH specific study abroad program. It's really well thought out. It's cool. But the business school beyond IBH has a handful of its own study abroad programs. And then, of course, there's lots of other study abroad programs on this campus as well. So I think the IBH study abroad programs are great, but it's not your only chance to study abroad.
All right, and then there's a question about, is it possible to sit in on classes during admitted student days? I wouldn't expect it, partly because one of the admitted student days is a Saturday, so there won't be classes going on. And the events and activities that we host for our visiting students on the admitted student days are, against the class schedule. They're during the class schedule. So we really want you to participate in these opportunities to learn more about the programs. But I will take this opportunity to plug we in honors for our invited honor students offer host-a-days. Chantel, you're still sharing your screen. Thank you. We offer host-a-days, so it's an opportunity for students to be matched with one of our current students, the honors ambassadors that Chantel was talking about earlier. Honors ambassadors are students from freshmen all the way through seniors who are members of the Honors College. Some of them are obviously currently still in their coursework. Some of them are have completed their honors coursework, and they are participate with us for every single recruiting activity that we do other than this one. But they will be at the online chats all this week. They will be at the admitted student open house days. They will be at our Banneker Key interview days. So there's lots of opportunities for you to get to meet some of our students. But we really recommend, if you're interested, come to campus, do a host-a-day. Chantel just put the link in the document, or in the chat rather. So fill out the host-a-day request and we will work on matching you with a student. We offer both virtual, so if you're far away and can't make it to campus, or if it doesn't work with your schedule, you can't miss school or anything like that, we'll work with you and one of our students to find a time that works for you and the student for you to come and attend as many classes as you can with a student on any particular day. So that's a great opportunity as well.
I wanted to answer Alexander's question about study abroad in microbiology or biology. Our ILS program has historically had a study abroad program that's kind of on a break right now, but they're working on it. So I think that would be a great question to log on the ILS chat and ask them specifically about their study abroad program options at the moment. But then, yeah, I mean, this would be, so our honors programs have good study abroad opportunities, but there's also just so much study abroad on this campus. So the study abroad website would also just give you a sense of the many, many study abroad opportunities outside of honors. So lots and lots of opportunities on this campus, both in honors and not.
Any other questions? I'm sure you have some because you guys just came out the woodworks with some just a few minutes ago. Oh, I do want to add though, while in this little gap of time, there's only, if you guys notice, there's only one link for all of the online chats this week. So that was designed so that you don't have to like go in and out of different rooms. So the schedule, which has been up, and it should be in your email too that you received, lays out which program is going to be on a specific time. So I know me and Jenny have seen this a lot over the years, but like typically we'll see like multiple people the whole week. From your name, we can just see who's been kind of tuning in. So I say that to say you're more than welcome to stay on. So like if you tune into Honors Humanities and then the next program starts at 7 o'clock, you can stay on. There will be like a little 2-3 minute gap of time where they're transitioning over their presentations. But you are more than welcome to stay if you just kind of want to tune in and just listen to all of the different programs. So that is an option if you want. I would just say if you're interested in a specific program, like I said, that link goes to all of them. So tune in at that time that it's scheduled, so that you're not logging into a random program that you're not interested in at all.
And I'll just say again, we are recording this session and we will be recording all of the sessions this week. We will post them on our website. We'll upload the recordings to our website. And we will also be sending an email with links to all of the recordings once they're available. We do know the deadline, so we know that you want access to these recordings. So we will work to get those up as quickly as possible. I have had people ask before a chat has happened, where's the recording? So just remember that it does take us time. We have to actually do the event and then figure out the recording and then upload that. So it does take us a day or two, but we will get them up as quickly as possible because we are very well aware of the February 19th deadline and we want you to get the information as much in advance as you can. So yes, we will upload the recordings and we will get those recordings out to you as well.
Any other questions? Oh, there we go. Go ahead.
Oh, the schedule, it starts at 7:45 a.m. There will be activities, I think, until like 2 o'clock-ish, but there is no requirement for you to stay, you know. There will be a check-in table registration in the morning. It's great to come and register and get the basic information, but if for some reason you can't make it that early, come when you can. If you can't stay until 2 o'clock, fine. There are all these activities available. If you can stay the whole day, that's great. You'll get as much out of the day as possible. But if you can only get some of it, that's fine. Get as much as you can. Participate in the event for as long as you're able to. About housing in general, is the application we fill out for a housing and dining plan first come, first serve? Oh, this is a very good question. I've seen this on a parent Facebook group that I'm in. Okay, so for students in honors, if you commit to attend the University of Maryland and you want to live on campus, you must fill out, of course, the housing and dining form. The recommendations that I've seen are to fill out the housing dining form as soon as you can, because yes, housing assignments are first come, first serve. The difference is if you are in honors and you've filled out the housing form by the deadline, you're going to be housed in that program's housing. The only exception to that is if we significantly overyield and don't have as many beds in the building or on the floors as we have students who have confirmed for that program. We do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen, but now it's up to you guys. It's not up to us anymore. We can't control how many people say yes and how many people say no. So we will make sure that we are able to accommodate students. And the only time in which the date that you submit the housing form that would come into play is if a particular program has significantly over enrolled and we have to move a group of students from the main building into a building very close by or something like that. It has happened a couple of times. So I can't say it's impossible, but we do everything we can to make sure that we're trying to, we're able to accommodate the students that the number of students that we hope will say yes to us. So, I hope that answered the question. Do we have to submit senior mid-year reports for the Honors College program? No. The university will require your final transcript.
But Jenny, that other question also had a part about are the honors college programs first come, first serve?
Oh, so for housing? Oh,
I think it was asking about preferencing.
okay. So the housing part, I think I answered, hopefully. The preference form, like we said, no, it is not for first come, first serve. We do not consider students for the programs based on when they submitted the form. We have a February 19th deadline. Every student who submits the form by the February 19th deadline has equal consideration for the programs. Okay. Submit senior mid-year reports. No, that is not a requirement unless the university has specifically asked for it, but usually you don't get admitted and asked for a senior mid-year report. You will have to submit final year transcripts, of course, showing that you have earned your high school diploma. The in-person admitted student day registrations have been closed. What other in-person? Okay, so the university also offers, they have some visits. I'll need to figure out what they're called, but they're like My Maryland tours or something specifically for admitted students. Those are going to be shorter days, and they are offered, I believe, on some Mondays and Fridays throughout the semester. So those are some in-person visit options. There's also self-guided tour options that you can do, both in-person and virtual. Just because we get the question a lot, we do not offer tours in the Honors College, partly because, as we've said a few times, we are spread out all over campus and our buildings are based in residence halls. And so we need to protect the privacy of our students. You are welcome to contact us, Chantel and I, at honorsadmissions@umd.edu. If you're going to be on campus for a visit and want to come by and say hello, we're happy to have a chat, answer any questions you may have. Or you can certainly, once you are invited to a program, you will have the contact information for those programs. Dogs are always welcome on screen. So you can certainly contact the folks in the program that you're invited to and see what opportunities they have. They may offer some things. I know students for GEMS are invited to attend the GEMS thesis conference. So the seniors who are presenting their 4 years of research, that is virtual, so it's not in person, but it's a really great opportunity to see the actual research that the students have done, some of the projects that Dr. Maddox talked about. I don't know if those were seniors that you mentioned, but if it's not those, there's some other really great ones. So those are definitely some opportunities, but oh, Chantel put some good links in the chat. So check out those options. And then, like I said, email us honorsadmissions@umd.edu. Chantel and I both check that inbox. We generally clear it every single day. So you're going to get a response from us. And we'd be happy to meet with you if you're on campus on a day that we're available, and answer any questions that you may have. You can at least come and see the Honor Central office and meet us in person.
Thank you. So we'll give it another minute if you have any like last questions. We have about 10 minutes left, but we won't hold you if you don't want to be. We know it's Super Bowl Sunday, so we know you guys are probably trying to get to that. So yeah, thank you, Jenny. So if you do have any follow-up questions, like she said, please don't hesitate. Reach out to us. We're here to support you. Our email address is in the chat, honorsadmissions@umd.edu. And no question is dumb. Like literally ask us if you're curious, let us know. If we don't know the answer, we will direct you to who does. So just do not be afraid to ask questions. We also have some like upcoming, they haven't been released yet. I'll be sending out another like a reminder email for the online chats. Within that, there may be 1 or 2 different opportunities to meet with current students like in a group setting virtually, to kind of have like an open Q&A session like in a more casual setting. So kind of look out for that. So that should be coming within the next few days, maybe a week or so.
I'm also going to plug on February 17th, we're going to be doing a phone-a-thon. We're going to call some of you guys, encourage you to submit the preference form. We'll have students making the phone calls. We will teach the students how to use the phones because they don't know how to use the phones. So we'll teach them how to use regular phones, desk phones, and they'll call students and answer any questions you guys may have about the preference form, about the programs, about their experiences here. So if your phone rings on February 17th in the evening, please answer. It's us calling. And then one final reminder, February 19th, really, please submit that form. Again, it doesn't commit you to anything. You can still say no to the University of Maryland. You can decide not to actually, participate in the Honors College. But we hope that getting information about which specific program you're interested in or that you're invited to will help you decide that, yes, absolutely, this is the right place for you and this is where you want to be, because we would love to see you here in the fall.
All right. Before we let you go, Dr. Maddox, have anything last words to say? Sorry, I'm sure.
No, this has been great to chat with you all. I'm sorry, the dog is just ready for me to be done with this. The dog knows that it's Super Bowl Sunday. She's heard there's going to be treats. So, it's been great to chat with you all. We have invited you to the Honors College because we think you are students of great promise. And more than that, as Jenny was saying, like it was a very competitive year for admissions. And we invited you all to honors because we think honors is a place where you will thrive. We think you will be successful in honors. So we hope that you'll believe us that honors is a place for you, a place where you'll be successful, and that you will choose to be a Terp.
Thank you. Awesome. So yeah, this will be recorded. I mean, this is being recorded. So look out for your emails the next few days. I know some students don't like to look at emails. Look at your emails. A lot of good stuff's coming in. So just check those out. And then, like I said, last thing, email us any questions. Thank you guys for joining us. We will let you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a good one. We hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.